Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I have to say, on one hand, it's good to be back. On the other hand, I'm disappointed, right? Because let me tell you a story, right? I was going to take this particular NFL season to myself, got in an accident, a car accident, as you know in the last couple of videos that I did over a year ago. Fractured my femur, dislocated my hip, and fractured my hip, but I can walk now, or I'm getting back on the pace of walking. I can stand up, blah, blah, blah. You see the good old crutch, just like good old Timmy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this year to myself, heal up, because it is a real struggle to relearn how to walk. But let's not make this video all about me. I was going to take this whole year off, right? And I was like, I'm not going to post any videos about the Raiders. Because I remember when I was in college, I used to say, you know what? Raiders going to win the Super Bowl. Every year, Raiders going to win the Super Bowl. We out here. And I always close with that, But in college, I used to say it almost every day, right? And my friend, good old Omar El Dab, respect to Omar El Dab, he said, you know what happens if you just be quiet and don't really project all your wants for the Raiders into the universe, right? What happens if you just be quiet? Maybe that's why your team doesn't win. And I was like, why would I be humble? Why would I be quiet? I got to profess everything. So fast forward to this offseason. I was like, you know what? Maybe he was right. Maybe I needed to step back and just, watch casually, not really project my own opinions out there. So, I had to watch us get rid of Derek Carr, who I was a huge fan of. I thought he should have ended at Raider or retired a Raider, but some people in the Raider Nation didn't believe me. They weren't on the same path as me. They said we gotta get rid of this dude. And then we had Jeff Stidham, and everybody's, oh yeah, he's so good. How could he not be good for the last? Well, actually, the last game he was terrible, but the second to last game he was good. I'm like, there's no film on this dude, and yes, he has the best receiver in the game. And he has Hunter Renfrow. And at that time, we had Darren Waller and Foster Moreau. So we were actually really good. And mind you, we had Josh Jacobs. So we really had a good team. And then the offensive line was intact. But everybody's like, oh yeah, see, we don't need Carr. Just did him. We can do that. And then we got rid of Derek Carr in the offseason. I didn't say a word. I didn't hit the record button. Then we got rid of Just Stidham. And then we got Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, and then we got Josh McDaniels and Zeigler, right? And I wasn't a fan of I wasn't a fan of any of those moves, any of them. One, Jimmy G, I have no personal hate against the dude, but he just can't stay healthy. I think he's a good quarterback. He just can't stay healthy. Every year, this dude misses either the entire season or multiple games where he's not even available for half the season. So I'm not a big fan of it. Josh McDaniels, okay, I get the whole ring situation where he won multiple rings in Foxborough with good old Bill Belichick and good old Tom Brady. Wasn't a big fan of it because outside of Foxborough, where has he actually had success? He didn't have it in Denver. He didn't even have it in Indianapolis. Even though he coached the season, he left. He left 2 weeks in. He said, no, I'm out. I'm going back to Foxborough. And I'm just thinking to myself, what's the appeal for Josh McDaniels? Is it because he had one of the game's greatest quarterbacks of all time? Is it because, the whole NFL acquiesced to Foxborough? And then we have Zeigler, Dave Zeigler. I'm like, who is this dude? What track record does this man have? But I say, you know what? It's not. I'm taking a step back, and I'm gonna let it just work itself out. Maybe Mark Davis knows what he's doing. And then we have the draft. Wasn't a big fan of the draft. from top to bottom. I really thought we should have gotten Jalen Carter. You know, we didn't get Jalen Carter. All of our draft picks are meh, meh. And so, I went into the season with not a lot of hope. Not a lot of hope. Not a lot of hope. And then week 1 happens, week 2 happens, and I'm like, because week 1 happened, we beat the Broncos, and I was like, oh, maybe we got a shot, you know, because I'm thinking Russell Wilson with good old Sean Payton. They got a good defense, you know. Sutton is a good receiver. Is it CeeDee Lamb? Or I can't remember the other receiver that they have, and I'm like, oh, that was a great margin. Like Jimmy G scrambling for the first down, and we get out of there. The defense is playing a good game, playing a good game, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this whole Josh McDaniels reign. Next week happens. Week after that happens. Week 3 happens. Week 4 happens. Week 5 happens. And you know, how we lose games, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, because this is crazy to me, because this year, actually, the defense has actually been playing well. It's the offense that has been a joke of the highest order. A joke. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, we got Josh Jacobs, who we didn't sign to a long-term deal after he had one of his best years ever. We let Darren Waller go. Hunter Renfrow has not been seen. I think he has 2 catches on the season. The offensive line is in shambles. Josh Jacobs can't get in sync with the line. You know, it hasn't been good for him. Jimmy G, mixed bag. Like there was actually a stat where he said, hey, through the first 6-7 games, he had the same stats as Jamarcus Russell. I'm like, Jesus. Jimmy G, that is, had the same stat as Jamarcus Russell. So I'm thinking to myself, still gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna record. And then Monday night happens, right? And before Monday night happens, it's like, oh, we have a team meeting. Josh McDaniels talks to all the players, whatever. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is a joke. This dude can't coach. Zeigler can't make any moves. The only move I will give them credit for is getting Devontae Adams. That's the only move I'll give them credit for. Congratulations. Other than that, it has been a train wreck. And then, you know, here's my biggest issue with Monday night, right? Since 2003, we have been abysmal. Literally abysmal. Coach after coach, offensive player after offensive player, bust after bust. Like, since 2003, we've been going through this. And I'm thinking to myself, the Bengals have gone from being a laughingstock to being a contender in that time. The Steelers have been, they have been consistent in that time. You know, the Dolphins have come back to prominence in that time from 2003 to 2023 today. The Bills have become a major contender. Hell, even New York, even though they lost Aaron Rodgers and they're not the best of the best, they're still relevant. They still are competitive in games. Even the Jaguars have become respectable. Hell, even the Texans, who I'm a big fan of CJ Stroud, by the way. I actually like him. Even they are respectable. What are we? We're still a joke. A joke of the highest order. And so I'm thinking to myself, what happened? Because I remember when the Lions used to be a walkthrough. They used to be the team where you sit there and say, hey, we lost a game we should have won the week before. But hey, thankfully, we got the Lions. It's easy money. Now, it's not easy money. We weren't even favored in the damn game. To the Lions. I remember when they used to have what are those things? Uh, uh, grocery bags over their heads and say, "I'm a Lions fan. I'm too embarrassed to show my face." That used to be them. And now they're contenders. Now they're the head of the NFC North. Where are we? Mediocre at best. And when we lost to the Lions, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, we have reached a new low. A new low. Because we're supposed to be the team of decades. We're supposed to have a commitment to excellence. We're supposed to just win, baby. And we haven't done that since 2002. So I'm looking at Mark Davis, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I hate the fact that this dude has a baddie next to, every time they show him, he's got a baddie next to him. I'm like, how? How? How are you getting these baddies and our franchise is literally going down the drain? And I'm like, what are you doing, Mark Davis? What are you doing? You have a legendary franchise. You run this. What are you doing? And everybody's like, well, maybe this year it'll take some time for Josh McDaniels to get in sync, whatever. This dude has a year and a half. And when we lost that game, I was like, what are we doing? And then they fired him the very next day in the morning, at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, Mark Davis. And I respect Mark Davis for this, because I was this close to saying, you got to sell your franchise because you're not a capable owner. But the man manned up and said, you know what? You got to go, Josh McDaniels. Oh, and you, Dave Zeigler, you got to go too. Take your GM with you and go back to Foxborough. Now, normally, I'm not excited about somebody getting fired because these people do have families and such. But damn it, why should I feel guilty when these dudes can go back to Foxborough and be like, hey, you need an offensive coordinator? You need an assistant offensive coordinator? Do you need an assistant GM or a scout? These people have jobs, so I'm not worried about them. But I was happy that he got rid of everybody. He's like, hey, you got to go. You just got to go. Now, fast forward to today. We play the Giants. And I'm like, do I feel confident about us winning against the Giants? No, I don't. I liked Aiden O'Connell in the preseason. He looked good to me, but it's the preseason. It's not the real season. I like Antonio Pierce. His press conference was, he got you amped up. I just don't know how that translates to leading men and making halftime adjustments, which we have a habitual problem with. Halftime adjustments. But you know what? I'm always in favor of a black coach. I'm hoping he does well. Antonio Pierce, that is. I'm hoping we show up and actually play as Raiders, because Hunter Renfrow said we don't have to we don't have to walk on eggshells anymore. We can have fun playing football. And I'm like, okay. Let's just do something. Please don't let this year be a waste. Because I feel like we have a golden opportunity to make it to the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying we're guaranteed to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying once you get into the dance, everything is is on the table. So I'm looking forward to Antonio Pierce today. I'm looking forward to Josh Jacobs having a great day. I'm looking forward to Hunter Renfrow having more than one catch in 6 weeks or 7 weeks, 8 weeks. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the offense being diverse. Oh, and then we got rid of the offensive coordinator too, Mick Lombardi. Everybody had to go. But anyway, I'm hoping that we have a massive reset and we can actually salvage this year. That being said, we can still finish second in the AFC West. We can still finish second. I'm a firm believer we're better than the Chargers, because the Chargers are the Chargers. They'll always have injuries that derail their whole season. And the Broncos, the Broncos are the Broncos, So it's just us and the Chiefs. And we have a golden opportunity to finish second in the AFC West and maybe get a wild card. You know, so I still have hope in the season. And you know what? I'm back. Because being quiet doesn't work. The Raiders don't win when I'm quiet. So I'm gonna keep coming back and talk my talk. So that being said, it's been a long time. Congratulations to everybody in this year, surviving this year in this oblivion. But today's a day. We stake our claim to marching back to prominence. So I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it for all the people who watch. Super Bowl, we out here. Now, it's not guaranteed we'll win the Super Bowl, but we do have a shot now. We just gotta build momentum up. Because this year, I feel like it's wide open. All we gotta do is just knock on that door and say, hey, miss playoffs, we're here and we're ready for the world. That's all we gotta do. So with that being said, I'm back. No more being quiet, no more being humble and all that bull. Nah, because it doesn't work. Super Bowl, we out here, and we better take out these lowly Giants. That's it. I'll have a post game after we beat the Giants. And if we don't beat the Giants, I might have some tears. We'll see. I'll holler at y'all later. Oh yeah. The most confident and resolute walk-off in these YouTube streets. And I can stand now.